The assigned defense. A Punch Girl Short Story by J.M. Riley. Chapter 1. Most litigating attorneys gain new clients the old-fashioned way, through referrals. The rest come from Google and legal directories. Despite that, Stephanie SCHMIDT stands against the wall in bustling Superior Court with a dozen eager lawyers awaiting court-appointed defense cases. Superior Court, aka trial court, operates under state jurisdiction and occupies the lowest rung of the judicial ladder. From here, the Supreme Court might as well be on the moon, and the clientele reflects that. Drunk drivers, domestic abusers, shoplifters. These are not the bedrock clients of a successful law practice, and defending them takes time and effort, with the bonus of generating zero revenue. Still, Stephanie wants the cases. The others along the wall with her may have arrived with starry eyes and visions of To Kill a Mockingbird in their heads, but Stephanie has not. She has a plan. Well, a need that has grown into a plan. She needs the cases for her resume. Like an online store needs reviews to coax shoppers into becoming buyers, Stephanie SCHMIDT, attorney at law, needs social proof. A lengthy list of successful cases tells potential clients that this young attorney has the drive and experience to handle their business long term. Trial court is the perfect place for that. Quick, straightforward cases, settled over 9 out of 10 times. In a few weeks, Stephanie can pad her profile and get back to networking actual clients. A hush in the busy courtroom snaps Stephanie out of her head and into the room, which now looks less like a bus terminal and more like a photograph. From the raised bench, the judge eyes the lawyers along the wall, but no one moves. Stephanie leans forward and whispers into the navy-suited shoulder in front of her. What did she say? The man speaks into his shoulder, eyeing the judge and hoping to avoid attention. The State versus Marcus Kumar. Trademark infringement, possession, and distribution of stolen goods. The judge leans forward on her elbows and widens her eyes, waiting. After a few moments, she points to the lawyer nearest her and says, "Mr. Ortega, it's your lucky day." "Judge, I can't take this one," Ortega says. "I have a conflict." "Which is?" While Ortega weasels his way out of the case, Stephanie leans again and says, "What's wrong with it?" "It's a Punch Girl case." No one wants a Punch Girl case. Evidence admissibility makes them thorny, and a sure winner or quick settlement can unravel. Courthouse legend says that more than one attorney has ended their career by botching a Punch Girl case and landing on her enemies list. Contaminated data, conflicting interviews, and personal threats drove lawyers into civil practice or out of the field altogether. Ortega says, "That's the problem, Judge. My uncle, the first one I said, not the other one, he sold medical devices in his store until last year." "I'll take it," Stephanie says. The judge's eyes shift to her, and as she removes her glasses, the other lawyers recede like evaporating water, leaving Stephanie on an island. The judge studies Stephanie for a moment and beckons her forward with a hand. Stephanie leaves the line and walks past the other lawyers, around the defense table, through the protective bailiffs, and raises her face to the judge. "Stephanie SCHMIDT, Your Honor." The judge nods. "I've seen you. You're still solo?" "Yes." "What are you doing here?" "I need the cases for my practice, to show experience." "Understandable." The judge returns her glasses to her face and glances at the case documents on her desk. She says, "This is a Punch Girl case. It comes with added complications." "I know, I'll take it." "Why?" "It looks good. If I bring home a Punch Girl case, people see that and get excited. I can build on it." "Or it can go the other way. More promising careers than yours have ended under the sky blue spotlight. You have a pretty clean record, Ms. SCHMIDT. Not many losses, unlike your colleagues over there. I'll hand this to you if you want it. You're sure you want me to do that?" Stephanie extends her hand for the file. "I'm sure, Your Honor." The judge hands over the file and moves to the next item on her busy docket, dismissing Stephanie, who exits past the stares of her perplexed counterparts. They judge her inexperience, But Stephanie misses their silent critiques, already reading the charging documents in the complaint. Marcus Kumar trademark infringement, possession and distribution of stolen goods, as she expected. Outside the courtroom, Stephanie finds a bench and sits, settling with the file. The complaint states that Marcus sold counterfeit defibrillators wholesale to medical equipment suppliers. The law enforcement reports and discovery materials display Punch Girl's name in several places, and a packet of evidence includes surveillance footage, chain of custody documentation, and witness statements. Nothing in the document surprises her, so she skims past the evidence to Marcus's arrest warrant and indictment. Marcus has no prior criminal record, but the seriousness of selling counterfeit defibrillators fast-tracked his prosecution. In several of his statements, Mr. Kumar proclaimed his innocence, but the evidence speaks for itself. Unless he can offer new testimony, Marcus Kumar is going to jail. A disinterested eye might dismiss the neat evidence package as foolproof. All that's left is to negotiate the penalty and move on to the next case. Stephanie Schmidt's keen eyes see something different. It may or may not upset Punch Girl, but that is a concern for others, not her. Her concern is Marcus Kumar. Someone set him up. Chapter 2. Marcus posted bail before his arraignment weeks ago, and after a phone call introducing herself, Stephanie meets him at his home. The ground floor apartment overlooks a city sidewalk fronting a 4-lane boulevard, and similar apartments line the block and mirror each other across the crowded street, adding a constant bed of noise even through closed windows. With nervous hands clasped in front of him, Marcus answers the door and escorts Stephanie past a tidy kitchen and a neat child's bedroom to a sitting area with a view over a small balcony to the pedestrians on the sidewalk. Despite the modest size and hectic location, the uncluttered apartment confirms Stephanie's position. Everything here follows order and rules. Nothing here says criminal. The open blinds let in light along with potential snoops on the street, so any secret business risk exposure. The apartment's aroma says that a cook lives here, not a night prowler who brings home whatever foil-wrapped, deep-fried ball of grease the late-night kiosks sell. And the child's bedroom is the necessary accommodation of a young family or the stroke of a master criminal. Marcus Kumar gives many things, but criminal mastermind is not one of them. After he offers Stephanie a seat, Marcus sits across from her and says, "I didn't know." Well, Mr. Kumar, didn't know and didn't do are two different things. If I knew, I wouldn't have sold them. How can I be guilty of a crime I committed by accident? Stephanie says, "That's a complicated legal question, and it's not one we want to answer in court. I'm a medical device distributor. I would never hurt anyone." Walk me through it. What happened? Marcus explains finding the defibrillator manufacturer online and comparing their competitive prices. He spoke to a rep who described the company's streamlined production process and assured him the equipment was certified and legitimate. The sales rep forwarded all the specifications, test documents, and certifications and congratulated Marcus on his diligence. So far, these machines had sold only to institutional buyers through trade shows, and they had not hit the public market yet. When they did, the price would double. Then you sold the machines to retail stores. Yes, longtime customers. Now, no one trusts me. How could they? I don't trust myself. Stephanie consults her scribbled notes and opens the case documents. Authorities recovered most of the machines, but several remain unaccounted for, and tracing the last of the illicit devices through multiple downstream owners has frustrated law enforcement. How do you think they found you? Marcus's mouth moves, but no words come out. He swallows and says, "What do you mean?" "Well, you say you're not a criminal." "I'm not. I never have been. My records..." "It's fine. I believe you." "Am I going to jail?" It's open and shut. The man committed a crime, and in a black and white world, that would be enough. She could make the case against him, and any negotiation with the prosecution puts her at a disadvantage. A dispassionate defender would cut loose and move on. Stephanie is not dispassionate. She says, "Probably not. but my question is, what happened? It's not like you were on anyone's radar. The defib machines are fake, but they didn't hurt anyone. How did you get tangled up with Punch Girl? I don't understand. I was arrested by the police. They came here to my home. Punch Girl made the case against you. The evidence shows she was watching you for 3 weeks. When? I sold the machines right after I bought them. I didn't even have them for 3 weeks. What was she surveilling you for then? I don't know. Stephanie pauses and says, do you think it's possible she was watching your supplier? The company you bought the machines from, and that led her to you? I mean, why doesn't she arrest them? Stephanie concludes the interview with little new information, but she confirms her primary data point. Marcus is telling the truth. On her way back to the office, several news notifications ping her phone, but since she drives a motorcycle instead of a traditional car, she feels them instead of seeing them. A bushel of announcements delivered at once means media panic, so at the next red light, Stephanie removes her phone and taps her screen. She expected unpleasant news, not terrible news, not personal news. Investigators found all the remaining defibrillators. All were unused except one, which a clinic employed during a cardiac emergency, killing the patient. So much for a quick case to polish her resume. Things just got far worse for Marcus, and much harder for her. Chapter 3. Stephanie SCHMIDT, attorney at law, resides in a 275-square-foot office beside a solo accountant named Alec Baum, and across from Waylon Grimes, who operates a family business that Stephanie hasn't mustered the courage to ask about for fear of triggering one of Waylon's many long-winded anecdotes. Alec is a nice enough guy, if a little stiff in private, but Stephanie has more going on than either of them, and she will not share space with them for long. At her desk, behind her closed door, she ignores Waylon's voice droning at Alec from the hall and focuses on Marcus Kumar's file. She also ignores her buzzing phone, which wants to remind her that the breaking news has launched both the severity and timeline of Marcus's charges into orbit. The answer lies up the supply chain, which the Punch Girl evidence supports. The company that sold Marcus the machines never existed and has now vanished, but the surveillance photos and evidence show the operation in progress. A series of photos display images of the loading dock and falsified shipping labels from the northwest corner of the warehouse, the one position that could capture both. The timestamps prove the surveillance preceded Marcus's involvement by weeks, but that was passive observing. Marcus's arrest required precise timing, hitting a window after the handoff and subsequent sale, but before the machines moved into the retail market. That's active surveillance, and it shows 24/7 dedication or incredible instincts on Punch Girl's part. But why follow the crime downstream? Why not work upstream to the bigger fish? The answer is obvious and defensible. Marcus committed a traceable crime in the light of day: possession and sale of counterfeit goods. Slam closed. Stephanie picks up her phone, scrolling through her contacts until she reaches a name and taps. On the other end, a voice says, "Keen." "Please hold for Stephanie SCHMIDT. It may be several minutes." Patrick Keen chuckles at his law school classmate. "Good one. It would have been better if you actually put me on hold." "I'll remember that," Stephanie says. "Is that how big-time corporate lawyers answer the phone now, Keen?" "The ones who answer their own phones. How's it going out there? How's it checking your own timesheets?" "Easy and amazing. You should try it." "Has your soul grown back yet?" "I'm working on it. Are you still doing regulatory work?" Keen says, "Ugh, speaking of losing your soul. Can I send you something and ask you a few questions?" Patrick agrees, and Stephanie ends the call. She forwards the falsified FDA certificates and supporting documents to her friend, and he calls back within a few minutes. "SCHMIDT," she says. "Is this the medical devices of death case that's all over the news? How did you get tangled up in this?" "It's not an interesting story, I just did. Also, if we could not call it the medical devices of death case, I would appreciate it." "No offense, Steph, but what's to talk about? Shouldn't you be talking to the DA about a plea deal?" He didn't do it. They duped him. Good luck proving that. Patrick exhales and a keyboard clicks. These certificates are good enough. Side by side with actual FDA docs, they don't hold up. But on a crate in a warehouse, sure. I assume all the data is false? Except for Marcus Kumar's. Is there any way to trace something on the documents? A barcode or any code? Something that leads to the suppliers? Even if there was, then what? You knock on their door and record them admitting to setting up your client? I already have that. In her evidence packet, Punch Girl delivered a recording of the supplier reading serial numbers out loud to Marcus. Each of those numbers matches a different product in the FDA database. One is a mistake. Several is a conspiracy. They knew they were lying. If I knew who they were, I could tie the two together. Hang on, I'm shutting my door. Rustling noises crackle through the phone, and Patrick returns, lowering his voice. Why would you take a Punch Girl case? I need litigation experience, Stephanie says. There were no other litigants? It's not hard enough without Punch Girl appearing in your back seat when you win? What if she drags you in the media? What kind of experience is that? I'll take a public fight with Punch Girl any day. Nothing will put my boutique firm on the map faster. Well, if you're looking to make an enemy, then go after the evidence. The evidence is solid. It's a slam dunk. Everything is documented. Chain of custody follows FBI protocols. She speaks their language on both sides. Biocompatibility testing, sterility protocols. She even references specific FDA device design control regulation codes. The evidence wouldn't be tighter if the FBI prepared it themselves. You sound like a fan. Stephanie pauses. I'm saying she laid a solid foundation. I would like to use it as a springboard to the responsible parties. Which, of course, is not your job. Your duty is to your client, not the justice system. I can kill two birds with one stone. How about one bird with one stone? What bird is that? Keene says, forget the evidence itself. Pierce the collection and get it all dumped. I told you, the evidence is detailed and methodical. There's nothing wrong with it. There you go again, fangirling. What does that mean? Punch Girl is a vigilante. She's not a cop. She doesn't work for the Justice Department or the people. Attack her ability to present evidence against your client at all. No evidence, no case. One stone, one bird. So what? We don't want her taking criminals off the street? You said so yourself, Steph. Marcus Kumar is not a criminal. She screwed up. She operates with no oversight. Maybe she has a vendetta. This could be personal. Toss some doubt into the mix. I bet you could shave a couple of years off of Kumar's sentence, at least. It's worth a shot. It also puts the idea out there. Maybe it's a good idea. Maybe it's time. Stephanie stares at her desk for a moment and says, I'll think about it. Thanks, Keene. Patrick chuckles as he hangs up, leaving Stephanie with more questions. He also introduced a second battlefront. Go after Punch Girl. Chapter 4. The uncertainty surrounding the Punch Girl attack plan disturbed Stephanie enough to set it aside. It would add to her workload at best, and at worst, dragging Punch Girl into the light would start an unpredictable fight she might not survive. Would anyone hail the lawyer who brought down a hero? By noon the next day, her mind changed. The media, the public, and online big mouths whipped the defibrillator death into a frenzy, and they called for Marcus's head. The police arrested him again, this time for manslaughter, even though the DA had no proof of criminal negligence or intent. His office is angling to negotiate an involuntary manslaughter sentence, and right now, Stephanie might take it. They have added pressure, reduced time, and left Stephanie to choose the best bad option. Make a deal, sending an innocent man to prison, or open a Pandora's box that could define how the legal system manages vigilante-gathered evidence in the future. She sits at an impasse. If she could go back in time and heed Judge Toomey's advice, she would protect her legal reputation and walk away from this case, which would leave Marcus in jeopardy. Round and round we go. Instead of wishing for a time machine, Stephanie collects her materials, exits her office, and rides her motorcycle to the police lockup to visit her client. In the interview room with Marcus, she explains the situation and the elevated charges, finishing with a promise of a fierce negotiation. "I can't go to jail," Marcus says. "What would be the minimum you could accept? 6 months? A year?" No, 0. "I can't leave for 6 months. I have a family." "We're just establishing a baseline for negotiations." "I'm not a criminal." No one cares. The words form in Stephanie's mind, but she withholds them before they escape her mouth. It's true. To the DA, Marcus is a tally mark on a sheet and a percentage point to leverage to higher elected office. But Marcus doesn't need to hear that. Stephanie says, "You're not. You know it, I know it, and we're going to make them know it. Ms. Schmidt, I can't go to jail." "I hear you." Stephanie's next stop is the district attorney's office, and the wait outside, followed by 45 lonely minutes in a conference room, shows the prosecution's confidence in their case. When the actual DA himself enters the room, the already steep hill tilts upward. He's putting his face on this, which means he expects victory, a home run. Marcus needs her, and as much as she would like to avoid it, Stephanie must start throwing curveballs. The DA and 3 ADAs sit opposite Stephanie at the bare conference table, and the district attorney opens the negotiations with a smile. "Thank you for coming. As you've heard, the public has taken a significant interest in this case, so I believe it's best for everyone, your client, you, the people, if we put this to bed quickly, don't you agree?" "Completely. Drop the charges against Marcus Kumar, promise to investigate the machine's manufacturers, bring the responsible parties to justice, and we can call it a day." "I wish I could do that. What I can do is this. Involuntary manslaughter, 4 years. He's out in 2. I think that's generous considering someone is dead." "This is a trap. 4 years is the maximum sentence, and if she points that out, she swallows the bait and sets the hook, negotiating down from there. The involuntary manslaughter threshold is low. The prosecution can land a conviction without proving intent, and unpredictable juries can do anything with a description of conscious disregard of risk. It's vague, subjective, and the DA will use his famous face to sell it." Stephanie says, "How about 0? "I thought we were here for a plea negotiation. If we're here to insult each other, I have more productive things to do." "I'm saying 0 because the evidence is inadmissible." The ADAs stir, fluttering their legal pads. Evidence is their job, and they did not expect an attack. The district attorney shoots them a glance and says, "Which evidence would that be?" "All of it. I'm challenging anything stamped by Punch Girl. If you have no other evidence, then you have no case against my client." This is ridiculous. We prosecute cases on Punch Girl evidence all the time. This predates her, going back to Brightman. That's not my problem. Someone should have addressed this a long time ago. On what grounds are you challenging? In several documents, Punch Girl's methodology mirrors federal task force procedures for medical device fraud. The systematic documentation, the focus on supply chain verification, FDA compliance markers. She's working with someone on the inside, someone familiar with cases like these, and we do not know what their motives are. This is manufactured evidence. The DA scowls at his subordinates, and they shrug. He says, "How do you know all this?" Further, Punch Girl's surveillance tracking used 3-point triangulation to follow the shipping manifests. She lost them, which is convenient, but that is not a single person tailing a UPS truck. It's coordinated surveillance, and it smacks of invasion of privacy, if not conspiracy. Okay, go ahead. She went after this particular batch of defibrillators. Why? She photographed serial numbers and FDA codes of only the defective machines. Was she in on it? Was she setting up my client? The DA grunts. Any photos of legitimate machines wouldn't be evidence. She wouldn't submit them. As far as you know, have you asked her? I would like to. Maybe I'll file for a subpoena. The DA crosses his arms and studies Stephanie across the table. Stephanie fires her last arrow and hopes it lands. Whether Punch Girl is involved or not, the sale and manufacture of these medical devices leads to a larger organization. The buck does not stop with Marcus Kumar, and you know it. Ask for a continuance, get the bigger picture, and if the investigation leads back to my client, we'll meet right back here and pick up at 4 years, where we left off. Otherwise, this blows up like an airbag. Pop. The DA chuckles as he stands, and his employees follow his lead. It's a good argument, but I like sure things. We'll take our chances with Mr. Kumar and involuntary manslaughter. I'm looking forward to it. Her hosts exit, leaving Stephanie alone in the conference room where she sits for a moment. The words she withheld from Marcus return for another try at freedom, and Stephanie lets them out. No one cares. Chapter 5. Stephanie rides her motorbike back to the office, parks, and takes the elevator up from the garage where she crosses the lobby. Inside the shared office space, she pauses next to Alec Baum, the accountant, to check for her mail. She collects her stack and continues up the hallway, making chit-chat with her neighbor until she ducks into her box to reevaluate her plan. The plea negotiation covered her with a grimy film. Part of it was being so close to the oily district attorney, but she coded herself too. The Punch Girl attacks unsettled her, and they didn't land because she didn't believe them herself. Punch Girls on their side, performing a necessary service, so only a criminal would want to stop her. A criminal or a criminal defense attorney. Now, she has spilled her strategy, and she must prepare for a trial. The DA said he was looking forward to the spectacle, and he will embrace it, no doubt. If he can elevate the charge to manslaughter or even murder, he will. 6 months from now, a 4-year stint, abbreviated to 2, could look like Christmas, Sweet 16, and New Year's Eve rolled into one. Stephanie stands and exits her office, turning for the kitchen, but she pauses and retreats to Alec Baum's open door. She taps a knuckle on the door jamb and says, "Do you have a second?" Alec waves Stephanie in with a flapping hand and leans to see Wayland's closed door past her. "I just got rid of Wayland. Keep it down. I can't hear about antiquing again." "He went antiquing?" "Or something. Honestly, I zone out. I think it's a defense mechanism." Stephanie grins. She gets it. Wayland spent 20 minutes the other day explaining the different sizes of his feet and the difficulty and expense it causes him. She lowers her voice and says, "You're an accountant, right?" Alec agrees that he is indeed an accountant, and Stephanie describes her troubles with the Kumar case. No matter where she looks, everything lands on Marcus. If she could trace the funds, she could show a larger conspiracy and paint Marcus as the fall guy, which he is, but everything and everyone around Marcus has disappeared. "Disappeared how?" Alec says. "Shell companies. Money transferred overseas." "Well, overseas transfers are traceable. There are unique identifiers, and major banks have regulatory and legal reporting requirements. Your client does too." "How so?" "If he has an overseas account, anything over 10 grand, he must declare it on his taxes. If he doesn't, FinCEN and the IRS will jump him. A legitimate business person would declare it." "So if I can trace all of Marcus's money, that makes him legitimate. It doesn't move the blame, though. He's still the only man standing." "Do you want me to look into it?" Alex says. "No. I'll figure it out. I just wanted to talk and clear my head." "You sure?" "I don't mind. Maybe I'll find another standing man." "You really don't mind?" Alec opens his arms and says, "You may be too dazzled by your surroundings to realize that I have more free time than I would like. It would be nice to feel useful." "I can pay you for your time." "Buy me a soda next time we're in the kitchen. Send me what you have. I'll see what I can see." A day later, Alec appears in Stephanie's doorway with a grin. "Anyone here like good news?" "What is it?" "It's gonna cost you. I'm thinking 2 sodas. Chapter 6. Marcus Kumar, a legitimate business person and upstanding citizen, kept meticulous records, including payments to vendors. Those payments included tracking notations, and on the checks for the phony defibrillators, Marcus added the pirated FDA database numbers. Those numbers popped up in several overseas wire transfers. It was luck. The bad guys needed tracking numbers of their own, and the FDA numbers corresponded with no actual products, making them untraceable. They used them on their funds transfers, thinking it was cute to include them, but they should have known that cuteness often comes with teeth, and those teeth bit them in the butt. The luck ran its course to there, and it fell far short of the finish line. No names resulted, leaving Stephanie to shift Marcus's blame to ghosts. If Alec hadn't gone one step further. Like Marcus, any U.S. operator must declare overseas business, and without hope, Alec traced Marcus's purchase to an actual domestic company. They set up a U.S.-based shell to lure careful buyers like Marcus, and the discovery led Alec a step further. The medical devices cost more than $10,000. Did they report the overseas transfer? They must have feared the IRS more than law enforcement because they did. That makes them real, Stephanie said. Alec said, real sloppy. But authentic enough for FinCEN, the IRS and international anti-money laundering agents to follow. I mean, yeah, if they could see the complete picture and had the resources, anyone could. Stephanie sat back and examined her new gift in her head. That afternoon, she relayed her information to the DA's office and got the continuance she wanted. The state released Marcus on his own recognizance. A week later, during an Asian warehouse raid, Punch Girl cleaned house, uncovering a stockpile of phony FDA-labeled medical devices and a trove of incriminating financial data. Seated on a bench outside the courthouse, Stephanie unwraps a sandwich, takes a bite, and closes her eyes. While she chews, she points her face at the sun, enjoying the warmth and the surrounding sounds. She startles when she opens her eyes and finds Judge Toomey sitting beside her with a sandwich of her own. Stephanie swallows and says, "Judge, I didn't hear you come over." I'm sneaky like that. Outside of the court, call me Beverly." I can't see how that's ever going to happen. The judge chuckles and nibbles her lunch. The Punch Girl case worked out well. You got the win you wanted. Yes, it worked out. A lot of effort, though. I looked at the file. You did some real digging there, some luck, and then Punch Girl blows the whole thing open. Stephanie eats and nods. It's odd, the judge says. How so? Judge Toomey studies her sandwich while she speaks. It's like you couldn't have gotten there without her, but she needed you to get there. It's weird, right? Then you think, what if you had listened to me and never taken the case in the first place? What would have happened to Mr. Kumar? How many more people might have died? Stephanie turns to face her unexpected lunch companion. Are you asking me a question, Judge? Should I? Feel free. I'm not exactly sure what we're talking about. Judge Toomey stares at Stephanie's impassive face with a smirk on hers. After a few moments, she says, I'm sure. It's interesting how things work out, don't you think? I guess so. The judge stands and discards her trash. Silhouetted by the afternoon sun, she admires Stephanie for a moment and says, I think Stephanie SCHMIDT is going places. I'll be watching. Stephanie makes a note of that as she watches the judge leave and re-enter the courthouse. The end.